It's time to talk about the oil, gas, and energy in the Permian Basin with your host, Mickey Cargile. Join us for insightful conversations on market trends, industry innovations, and what it means for your investments. Stay informed and ahead in the energy world with Mickey Cargile leading the way.
We're excited today for another great episode. We have joining us now Jim Woodcock, a local businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist, longtime friend. Jim, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Mickey. Thanks for asking.
You know, I've always been so impressed with your story. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to Midland.
Well, in college, I was fascinated by oil and gas, and I thought geology would be a great thing. Geology would be a great thing to study. And so I took a lot of geology courses. During started my junior year, I thought I'd check around for jobs, and price of oil was down. So when that happens, geologists are pumping gas and checking oil. So I thought, I don't think I want to do this the rest of my life. So I changed my major to economics and business. And when I got out of college, a small company named Xerox hired me. And so I had some really interesting positions. I've actually moved 10 times in 14 years. Mm-hmm. In one situation, we were transferred to Rochester, New York to actually get involved with a new company. After 6 months, before we could move into our new home, I was transferred again to Dallas, Texas, and there five men started a new company, a new division of Xerox, and I became in charge of training and all the system support. So Claire and I decided to get married, and I decided I didn't want to move anymore, so we left, and I received a offer from a headhunter to come to Midland, Texas, and run a company that built drilling rigs. Mm-hmm. And so we came down and ran Challenger rig for about a year and a half, maybe a little longer. And then the price of oil was up. We came in 79, price of oil went up. Things were very good. And then in the early 80s, it began going down. And so the company I was working for decided to merge with the parent company in Tulsa. I didn't want to go with that. So we were then hoping we could find something else in Midland. And so a friend of mine, a banker, came to me with a company that he was banking, owned by an older man who actually had been a pilot in World War II, shot down in the Pacific. An interesting man, his name was Ralph Nelson. And they wanted to bring a younger person in and take over the company. So the name of the company was High Bond Engineering. And so I went in and began working and bought it and actually owned it for 27 years. We picked up waste gas, and not many people are too interested in it, but in one situation in Venezuela, we were working with 95 million feet of 2,800 BTU gas that was being vented and burned a day, each day. So we put equipment in to pick that up. And in Libya, one situation, we had one location, they were venting 35 million feet of, I think, 2,700 or 2,800 BTU gas. And we were able to pick that up. And the interesting thing about the Libyan operation was that at that time they were making, Gaddafi was still in power, by the way, they were making 350 barrels, 3.5 million barrels of oil a day. They were sitting at 800 miles through a pipeline to Benghazi. And the oil was a little heavy, but they were bringing it into the tanks at high pressure. It was venting a lot of gas. We were able to knock out a lot of NGLs, and actually several thousand barrels a day of NGLs. But if you look at 35 million feet, 2,800 BTU gas, that's a lot of gas. So anyway, we did that, knocked it out, and they were able to eliminate their chemical purchases. So we did that around the world. And most of our work was in the States was smaller, but I began really concentrating on the international market because that was really the big market. Anyway, that worked out very well. So somebody would go in and borrow money from the World Bank or some organization like that to drill, and then that organization that loaned the money would bring me in to pick up the gas, the waste gas, to keep it being burned and vented. So anyway, we owned High Bond for 27 years, and during that time, we had some interesting situations. A friend of mine who's Now, dead, actually, there were a couple of them. Earl Craig was one, and Arden Grover was another. Called me one day and said, hey, we have some interest. We have some interest in a company doing business in Russia. We'd like for you to get on the board and kind of watch our investments. So I said, I'll look at it. So I got on the board. Actually, the production was in Siberia, and the company that they invested in was a public company out of Canada. So so I got on the board, and a few months later, for some reason, they asked me to be chairman. And I was still running High Bond, but I didn't think it would take that much time, so I agreed to that. And then our Russian partner sold out to a Chechen. And the Chechen spoke good English, but he was, at that time, was one of the early oligarchs. He later wound up in prison. But we had our first meeting, and we were talking about the company, and I said, well, we probably need to discuss a contract we have. He said, you don't have a contract with us. I said, well, we have a contract with the company. They said, that's not me. That's the old company. So I said, well, let's get back together. So we separated, left, and we made the bad decision probably to call our attorney, who then called the American embassy, who then called this man's attorney. So he called a meeting for 2 days later, and we went in to the meeting, not sure what to expect. He was not there. He came in a few minutes later. As I mentioned, he spoke good English. He walked in, closed the door behind him, didn't sit down. He said, gentlemen, I don't think you understand. This is my country. It's not your country. And if you don't do what I want, you might not get out of here. So anyway, that gave us an incentive to do something. So we actually sold to him at a real low price for us, but we were making a lot of oil, good oil, in the tundra. We were right on the edge of, I think, at that time, the biggest Russian oil field. So everything we drilled made a nice well. So we did a lot of work in many different countries. But I met some interesting people. We worked in Syria at one time before. It had all its issues. Of course, we worked in Saudi, Kuwait, Oman. We sent equipment to all those countries. As I mentioned, Libya, all over South America. And it was hard emotionally, but from a family point of view, I thought it was time to do that.
Well, we all have to sell our businesses eventually. That's why we build them. So of the many business ventures you have, one more recent one is the UTPB Water Conference, and you're the founder of that water conference.
That's right.
Is that an annual event?
Yeah, that's an annual event. And would you like me to give you the genesis of it?
Please.
Well, I'm chairman of a group at UTPB called the Business Advisory Council. We bring in people in from Midland and Odessa 2 or 3 times a year and have meetings, and so they get a chance to see what's happening at UTPB. And we usually have the president come in and talk. And then I have some other business people, and we talk about the school. And people, I think, enjoy that. The school is growing very rapidly. Many people don't know that, but this gives them a chance. So I had been president of this Business Advisory Council, or chairman, I guess, for 2 or 3 years. I thought we need to look at something besides just meeting. Let's do something to help the university. So we had some ideas. We looked at the sun, we looked at wind, and we looked at water, decided water was needed the most. So we put together a really good board of both industry people and academic people and people who'd been involved with water. And we, so I put this board together, we talked about it, and thought it's a good idea. So, but the first thing you need to do is make sure we had some support from the industry, from speakers. So we were able to get some really good speakers in. And then we put together an agenda. And at this time, I was paying for everything myself. I leased the Horseshoe and the Petroleum Club. We were going to have dinners there and a lot of things. We had all the breakfasts and lunches. And so I used my American Express card, free plug for them, to pay for that, and have my fingers crossed it would work. So anyway, we went to the internet with the agenda, the idea about it, and in about 3 weeks we had, over 300 people who signed up and paid $1,000 each. So we wound up with something over 400 people the first year. And the good news is each year continues to grow. So I ran it for 3 years as a chairman and really began taking more of my time than I wanted to put in it. So I gave it to the university a few years ago, and they've run it, continued to run it, and actually have done a good job with it. I think it probably is now the largest water conference of its particular type in the United States and maybe the world. 3 years ago at the water conference, when I had given it to the university, I looked around the room and saw some people I knew who were with the major companies. I said, hey, folks, 3 years ago I called you, wouldn't even talk to me. Now you lined up to be the biggest sponsor, make sure you got 2 or 3 speakers. So I'm happy to see that. So the water conference is doing very well, I'm happy to say, and the people who are running it are making it be very successful.
Jim, thank you for telling us about your background. Jim is the Heritage Award recipient for National Petroleum Day this year, and we can certainly see why. With your background and the many accomplishments, it's going to be a pleasure to see you at National Petroleum Day this year and to watch you be properly recognized.
Well, thank you, Mickey.
And with that, we'll be right back.
This August 27th, National Petroleum Day honors Permian Basin legend Jim Woodcock, philanthropist, community leader, and environmental pioneer in oil and gas. Join us at the Petroleum Club of Midland and reserve your table now at nationalpetroleumday.com.
Buying, selling, or investing, real estate is a major life decision. The agency, Carey Payne James Real Estate Team, delivers heart, strategy, and over 100 years of combined experience. Every detail, from expert staging to professional photography, is handled with care. Led by the trusted and compassionate Carey Payne James, this top-producing Midland team is known for making real estate seamless, rewarding, and even enjoyable. Learn more at the agency kpj.com.
Don't miss the National Petroleum Day tailgate on August 27th. It's free and open to the public on Wall Street. Presented by the Permian Basin International Oil Show. We'll see you there.
We're so pleased to have with us today Richard Zamora. Richard is Chief Operating Officer of AI Driller, based here in Midland. We're happy to have him as part of the community. And I'm excited to hear about the technology that you have brought to the oil field. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how it's enhanced the drilling process.
Well, for us, AI Driller is basically one of the first systems that a drilling operator could use to have one software and one screen for all their softwares. So basically today, operators have anywhere from 5 to 20 different types of softwares that they're using. And they're all segmented and all the data is siloed, and AI Driller brings all that data together and brings artificial intelligence, machine learning to oil and gas. And, all the big companies like Amazon or Microsoft, all these companies, they're not going to come into our industry and try to get into software because it's too niche, right? It's only going to be, you only have potential of maybe 40, 50 companies you can work with. So we kind of took that bull by the horn because we've all been in the industry for a long time, me, Murat, and some of the others who started the company. And we just wanted to make a change in our industry and bring, better software and better tech to our industry.
So the main driver why a customer would come to you is for the efficiency of the software.
Yeah, right now most operators, they don't have much by way of data analytics that's not siloed out, right? Having to use spot fires and all kind of dashboards, and our system brings it all in one that can, and it's the type of analytics that are out there today are like, think of an onion, right? And the onion has one layer, that first layer of the onion, when you crack it open, it's like that little sheet. And then after that, you got your first peel layer, second peel layer. So think of AI Driller. Our analytics is so in depth and so deep that we can peel that onion back to where there's nothing left. Whereas in the industry today, you might be able to peel back one layer of basic type of analytics, who drills the fastest, or who makes the fastest connections, or who makes the most footage per day, but how much it costs per foot and stuff like that. We're trying to put all that in one, but we're also doing it to where you can really get in depth to things that just were not available to look at in data analytics you can do today. So I always kind of try to explain it in terms that people will understand. Is you think of an operator now, we're drilling faster than ever, right? We're getting more and more efficient. And I always say that's like, 20 years ago, an operator was like drag racing a Honda Civic down the road with your little, little goofy Honda Civic, and you're driving down the road and you're racing. And then over the last 10 years, we got to where we were like NASCAR, and everything's getting a little bit faster, a lot more challenge, right? And you have to have more skill. So nowadays, we're even just within the last 5 years, we're drilling so much faster and so much more efficiently that I kind of consider us now like we're at the F1, right? So now we're looking for small changes, 2% here, 3% there, whatever we can do to get that extra juice out of the orange.
Mm-hmm. Well, with prices in the ranges that they've been the last year, oil companies certainly have to get more efficient on drilling to maintain their profit margins. That's kind of the code word this year is efficiency. How much efficiency do you think your software brings to a driller?
Well, our system is huge. We have everything that you can imagine: real-time engineering. We have the business analytics and KPIs, directional drilling, anti-collision, well planning, fully automated progs. If it depends, right? If one operator wants to come in there and use 2 or 3 of those things, they might get 5-10%. If somebody wants to come and use the whole system as more like a system of record with everything and have everything truly being used and tracking everything from your failures and all your hazards and everything, you can talk about 20 to 30% easily, very easily.
I can remember the days when it took 30 days to drill a Sprayberry well, just a vertical well. Mm-hmm. How long does it take now to drill these horizontals?
Well, depending on the area you're in, my fastest well that I've drilled was in the Midland Basin, was 5.4 days. That was the fastest I've seen here. And then right now, I'd say in the Delaware Basin, depending on where you are, you're going to be anywhere from 6 to 9 days on the easier drilling spots in Delaware Basin. And then the harder to drill, you're talking about 12 to 15.
And Richard, tell me how many employees you have in the Permian Basin.
We have 5 employees here in the Permian Basin, but with the way drilling is right now, we have rigs across every basin pretty much in the world right now. So we'll have 5 here, 5 there, 2 here, 2 there. So we're pretty spread out right now. We have some in the Northeast, we have some in Wyoming, we have a bunch in Houston, and some in the Northeast.
And how many rigs do you service?
We serve 250 globally right now, including like this Saudi Arabia and Malaysia and Alaska, Canada, just all over the world. So about 250.
And it's a growing business.
Yes, sir.
Oh, great.
Yep. I would say over the last 6 months, we've pretty much been steady because we have had a bunch of new customers, but we've also had some customers that went from like 33 rigs down to 13, right? Mm-hmm. So we've actually grown a little bit over the last 6 months, even with a large drop with our current customers.
Yeah, so the rig count has dropped about 20% this year. So it's great that you're growing even though the rig count's going down.
Yeah.
But that's a testament to the efficiency as well. We're producing more with fewer rigs.
Well, believe it or not, I feel like right now it's actually a little bit easier to sell because people want to make change, right? They need help, and we can provide that. We do a lot of performance-based projects for them, show them how they can do better. We can benchmark for them their data versus others, stuff like that. So, there's a lot to be had, and people want to hear it. They want to hear about it.
So in your path to becoming the Chief Operation Officer, tell me about your background.
I was born and raised in Europe pretty much until I was 18 years old. I got a football scholarship offer to go to Iowa, and I played football on indoor track and outdoor track. And then 9/11 happened. Once I saw that happen, I immediately dropped out of school and joined the military to go fight. That's kind of always been my calling. So I did 4 years in the military, 2.5 which were in Iraq. I made it up to sergeant at the age of 19, 20. Led soldiers into combat at a very young age. From there, I was blessed to be able to get out and then join oil and gas in about 2005. And since 2006, I've been here in the Permian.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful story. Tell me a little bit about how the military helped you prepare for the organization you have in the job now.
It just kind of gave me that leadership that you don't necessarily get to have in the field in oil and gas because, you're over 3 or 4 people, but when you're in the military, you're over a bunch of people. And come over here and just things don't faze me like they do the average person, and the work ethic is untouched, right? People and engineers that come from college can't really, a lot of them aren't going to come with the same type of intensity and work ethic that I come with. So I just bring that toughness and that intensity to the chief operating role, which, you know, is at our company isn't going to be like your traditional company or somebody who isn't into the actual operations and what's going on the day-to-day where I am. Because that's just the way we like to keep it as super small and tight knit, but also everybody's in the action.
So the name of your company is AI Driller, but that's just a part of what you do. Talk a little bit more about what your software does in addition to the drilling.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, so when Murat was first starting the company, he was on a rig floor. He told me the story, and he was with a driller at the time, and he was kind of going through and trying to do some rig automation with that company. And basically, AI was not really a thing yet, but he was wanting to do AI, and he was a driller. So he said, I'm going to start the company, and it's going to be AI Driller. So now we have obviously expanded, you know, before you ever even drill a well, we have stuff in the system for planning, for engineering, all this kind of stuff, budgeting, all that stuff. And then now we're in drilling analytics, drilling software, completion analytics, completion software, and all the way down to production side now. So we're trying to be like a full system of record for a company, but fully automated and newer software.
So the drilling techniques are so advanced now. What technology advancement do you see in the next few years?
It's probably going to be very similar to what we've had now. People are just really getting to the point where they're, you know, trying to improve the mud. They're trying to improve the motors, get bigger, better motors, bigger, you know, bits that cut better and don't get destroyed. But they, you know, they also have the softwares, have all the data in one place now. So the data, they used to have tons of data, right? And they had no way to use it. So I see the artificial intelligence and all the machine learning and the automation, that's what's changing the industry right now. So like we have a bunch of customers who use our software with other automated drilling softwares that are on the rig actually doing the drilling for them. So as that gets better, which it is getting better every single day, the efficiency gains are going to be so much higher with less people. So I would say, you know, artificial intelligence and automation are definitely going to be probably 90% of that driver, on top of, you know, having bigger, better tools.
So you're working in all of the basins and several countries. Compare the Permian Basin to some of the other areas where you work.
Permian Basin is very streamlined. We've honestly just done such a good job at being better at drilling, but you can go to some places and they have all the knowledge that we have. They have the people who work here where we work, and they still don't apply or change the things they do because maybe they're too big, too many politics or country politics, or, you know, the biggest difference I would say is Permian Basin is mostly we're using the money of people within a public world, right? Or maybe even a private world. So their money has to be made back quickly, right? So, where you go to another company that maybe is a national oil company or something like that, you're not dealing with people's money, right? So it's totally different. So I would say that here we've streamlined it so much and gotten so good at what we do, whereas a lot of places around the world still aren't even close to where we're at, where they could be pretty quickly if they really wanted to.
I know the production numbers recently hit 6.6 million barrels in the Permian. A year ago, we had 300 rigs running. Today, we have 238 developing the same production. You know, we've had no fall off in production from that. You know, at what one time would have been a drastic reduction in rig count. So I think the tools that you offer and the other technologies that have been developed are what are really driving the efficiency in drilling. And I think the future for the Permian Basin is great. I mean, we're the leaders in all these areas. Do you see a challenge coming up for the Permian Basin, either from our competing basins or for the oil industry in general?
No, I mean, you bring up good points. I want to touch on one of the points you just made first before I answer the question. I would say we're forgetting about the completion world too, right? So the completion world has changed a lot too. They didn't even used to have data on their sites, their frac sites, and now you go out there and they have all kind of data. They have AI drillers out there in the world. They're looking at data. They're making changes. But they're also fracking multiple wells at one time now, right? When it used to be they would frack one well at a time. Now they're doing, I've seen all the way up to quad. So like they're fracking 4 at one time. So right now there's literally to every rig of drilling, there's only one frac fleet needed. And then on top of that, they're using like all kinds of crazy technology where they're using like gas powered generators and electric powered generators and all kind of stuff that I just 5 years ago didn't exist. So the technology, don't sleep on the completions too. They've definitely came up a lot from where they were, because they have a lot that they haven't been completing wells like they do now, fracking wells. They haven't been doing that for what, 15 years or something like that, whereas we've been drilling for 100 years, right? So they have a big gain that they're going to have. So you're going to continue to see that.
So the question I always get is, when is the next bust coming? You know, we've all seen the bust out here. It's always been a boom and bust economy. What do you see for the future of the Permian Basin?
I don't really see all the big booms anymore. And I don't see all the big busts, just because like when I started out here in 2005 and we were drilling 30, 40, 50, 60, 80-day wells at times, right? So I think that's why those inefficiencies with people's capital led to those big ups and downs, right? And now we don't have that because we're so good at what we do. And that's happening really globally as well. So I see the booms and the busts being less, but I also see less rigs slowly tapering off over time as well, just because of the efficiency. So I do see the oil and gas industry being smaller. I just don't see it being any bigger, and I don't see it dropping way off or going back to 1,200 rigs neither.
Well, we thank you for being with us. It's very informational to learn about AI Driller. If someone wants to use your services, how do they get in touch with you?
They can get on our website at www.aidriller.com at any time. And there's I think an info@aidriller.com email, and they can send an email, or there's a number on there, and call us anytime.
Well, great. Well, thank you for being with us. It's a pleasure meeting you and having this discussion. And we'll be right back after this break.
In the oil fields, lost vapor means lost production and lost dollars. S&R Vapor Recovery has been solving that problem for more than 45 years. The premier manufacturer of the Sterling VRU, capturing emissions, protecting the environment, and maximizing your profitability. A 95% repeat customer rate. That's not a sales pitch. That's the Sterling standard. S&R Vapor Recovery. Quality, service, no compromises.
This August 27th, the Permian Basin comes together for National Petroleum Day, featuring Texas State Senator Kevin Sparks. Join us at the Petroleum Club of Midland for the most celebrated night in Permian Basin energy. Save the date or secure your table today at nationalpetroleumday.com.
Texas Industrial Automation Services brings over 30 years of expertise from industry legend Ronald Wilhoit, serving Texas since 2004. Our battle-tested team delivers top-tier automation solutions and value-packed service with relentless dedication to every customer. Quality endures, innovation thrives, and results are unstoppable. Learn more at iasmidland.com.
August 27, 1859, Edwin Drake struck oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania. August 27, 2026, the Permian Basin celebrates. National Petroleum Day proudly honors Jack Harper and Jim Woodcock. Join us at the NPD Gala inside the Petroleum Club of Midland, or experience the National Petroleum Day tailgate that same night on Wall Street. The NPD Landman theme is brought to you by AAPL. Reserve your table at nationalpetroleumday.com.
You know, I remember in the 80s reading books about peak oil, that the oil field was dead, that we had already produced all the oil that could be produced. But yet every year that gets pushed out farther and farther. And it always will be. We will always be an energy dependent economy, and petroleum is going to drive that economy.